Welcome, Transformers fans. My name is Composite EnerJoe, and today I'll be bringing you my review of the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Deluxe Glass Knockout. And here he is in his very ferocious-looking alt mode. And like most Beast Hunters figures, and say it with me, it is a very extensive retool of the Prime Robots in Disguise Deluxe Class version of Knockout. And that's what this is. And that version, both that version and this one, are based on the Aston Martin 177, albeit this one is a more crocodilian themed version of the car. But yeah, this is what this is based on. And I might as well mention it now. Well, here's the vehicle mode. Pretty cool, nice bits of detail. I don't think I mentioned this before, but this sort of effect on the plastic, I think is pretty cool. This blending thing, because a lot of other Beast Hunters figures have this sort of look, and it makes them really stand out from like other figures. That's actually really neat. I'm pretty sure I forgot to point that out with other figures. But yeah, nicely detailed, pretty good, and funny enough, a fairly nice representation of the real world vehicle, albeit a animal themed one. So, no, I'll mention it later. I was going to mention something about theming, but I'll mention that later. He does come with one accessory, which is this thing, which is referred to as the Croctoclaw. And it looks like a club. I'll show you what this actually is. It resembles, you see these handles here? If you hold it like this, it kind of resembles a club. And to store it in his vehicle mode, you just plug it in like that, and you can just pretend this is also a cannon, a gun or something. But another way to store it on here, which is actually the intended way and pretty cool, is that you open this up a bit more and you just plug it onto here. So you have this thing biting onto the car, and I'll explain what this chain is later. And thankfully, and thanks to this wheel here, he can actually roll quite well, even with this crocodile tail on his back. I also liked how the molding here sort of at least tries to connect with this molding to give the spine of the crocodile, and then you have the crocodile face. So yeah, that's actually really neat, really neat effect. And I might as well talk about what this is. Like, it's not just a club. If you actually untap this here, there's a chain. You then get this claw mace, this crocodile head, which if you press this, it can open up. It's on a spring. This sort of mace weapon. Or flail. No, not a flail. This is a mace. Chain mace? Kind of forgot what this is supposed to be called. But yeah, this is what this is. It's a chain. Is this called the mace? Yeah, it's called the mace. Yeah. I'm getting sidetracked. Yeah. It's a mace. It's a little mace here, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. And you just put that on there and connect it back like that. And there you go. And then you have to finagle a little bit to have it open up. So it's either a club or it's either a flail or a mace, whatever you choose. So we'll get back to this when we transform into robot mode, and let's get on with that. So first step, what was the first step? Oh, come down here, bring this part out, separate, and I might as well say he's actually fairly straight. He's not too complicated in his transformation. I think the arms are a bit finicky, which you'll see soon enough. But he's not too bad. These bits, you just turn them around. Come here. Pop this. Rotate down. Flip out. And then just put it there and line it up. Flip out. Rotate and put there. And there you have his legs. Simple enough. So let's lift up a bit. Then we come in here. How was this? I said his arms are a bit finicky. Come in here, separate that, and then you do that. Let me explain more with this arm. You straighten out this part, and then you take the tire and rotate. You need this straight like this in order for there to be clearance, and rotate so that the tires are right there. We'll fix these are the arms, you'll fix them later. Pull this piece out. then rotate this down. But then before that, you have to come in here, lift up, and this is kind of spring loaded here. You're supposed to rotate this forward. Like, not rotate, but just like move this forward, and it'll cause the head to sort of spring out. I don't know why it's not doing it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, supposed to separate this from there. And if it doesn't want to do it, just come in there and push it up. There we go. You get the head. It's supposed to be spring loaded. I don't know why it's not doing it for mine. But yeah, it's supposed to like spring out. It's supposed to pop out, but it didn't do it for mine. I don't know why. Then for these parts, have them be like this. There's these little notches here. I just put it behind this piece. For the chest. Unfortunately, this doesn't really peg into anywhere. And you push this in. Make sure that this pegs into there. And then, this is something pretty cool. You take these pieces and wrap around the waist so he then has like a belt. Then we're almost done. Then the arms. Flip these out, fold them there, and that's it. Not really much to say, just fold this here, flip out the hand, close it up, then rotate like that, and there you have it. That is Knockout, or at least how fans like to call this version of Knockout, Crockout. Which is kind of cute. And this is him in his robot mode. And boom. There he is. And it's okay. It's a nice, it is a pretty close representation, pretty accurate to how he looks on the show, albeit like crocodile themed. Check out that head sculpt. That's pretty much Knockout. I don't remember if his crest was that big, but yeah, that's Knockout. And as you can tell, it is on a ball joint, and unfortunately, because this doesn't click into anywhere, it's just on the spring, his head can just sort of turtle in and out. Which is kind of funny, but yeah, he can do that. Now, unfortunately, because of the way that the chest is transformed, like I said, I'm not a big fan of how the arms turned out. It limits his articulation. Like, if you want, you could rotate it like this and it gives him a better elbow, but it looks wrong. So yeah, for articulation, head is on a ball joint. Can rotate 360 if you work with the shoulder armor. If this wasn't here, you would have you could have a bend in the he got an elbow like that. You got rotation up there at the arm, and the hand is on a ball joint, so you have a lot. So you do have wrist articulation, which is nice. The legs are fine, no waist. Kind of annoying that keeps popping out. Ball joints can do a very nice kick. Whoop. Do a very nice kick, rotation there at the leg, and a really good knee, and a lot of ankle movement. So he can pivot, move, because there's ball joint and a hinge right there. So funny enough, I'm trying to remember what was the other figure I reviewed where I mentioned this, where, okay, from the waist down, it's excellent. Waist up is not that great. Oh yeah, Smokescreen. Yeah, this Knockout, at least for me, is in a similar position as Smokescreen, where the chest, because of the way that it's transformed, it's kind of weird. But unlike Smokescreen, the Knockout here, his chest, his arms, torso, and whatnot have limited articulation thanks to, all of this kibble that's on here and just how it's transformed. I feel they could have done a little bit better with this figure. I still like it. I think it's still I find it to be a fairly solid figure. And pretty cool. I like the crocodile theming very much, and I think this is just really, really cool. Could be better, but it's still all right. For the weapon, you can store it on his back. There's 2 pegs here, so you can, if you move this out of it, you can peg it there. have it stored on his back, and it actually doesn't look half bad. Or have him hold it. I said he can hold it as a gun, a club, or what I call a flail, or unpeg it. And there he has it as a mace, which you could just have him hold it like this. Which is kind of weird. I don't think this weapon fits the character. Since Knockout, I felt it was more of a narcissistic character. It's weird that you give him such a barbaric weapon. Like, I don't know. The weapon, I like it, but it seems out of character. It wouldn't fit this character since he's used to having, you know, knives, saws, and spears. Like, he feels like he should have a much faster weapon than just this thing. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel it fits the character. And that's it. Overall, it's a pretty good figure. Like I said, the chest, they could have done a little bit more work in the chest area because it does limit his articulation. I do like that the hands are on ball joints. I don't like that the head is spring-loaded and doesn't really attach anywhere. Legs are fine. They're fantastic. And the weapon is cool, but doesn't really fit the character. Also, this is pretty much a head. This weapon is pretty much a face. This is the mouth, and there, right there, are the eyes. And that would be the tail, and this is the head, top of the head. So yeah, overall, it's a pretty good figure. It's okay. It's not bad. It's pretty solid. Do I recommend him? Yeah, I can recommend this figure. He's pretty good. I do like the vehicle mode, and the transformation is not too bad. Like I said, the arms are a bit finicky, but it's not as bad as that. At least it wasn't as bad as it's not as bad as the arms of Smokescreen, who I really had trouble with. And that's it. Now, some facts. This version of Knockout only got one repaint, which was a Japanese exclusive called Bloody Knockout. And that was it. It's basically that the color schemes were replaced with silver and red. And I guess this is now the best time to mention that with Knockout, it's very apparent, but I think that for this line, for the Beast Hunters line, what they were trying to do with the Decepticons was to have each Decepticon be sort of based on an animal, or have traits and physical characteristics similar to animals. With Knockout here, it's very obvious that he's supposed to be that he has traits of a crocodile. Or an alligator. No, it's a crocodile. And the only other one that I could see that was very apparent was the Voyager Megatron, who was Sharktacon themed, or at least shark themed. And then the other two Decepticons I reviewed were Soundwave and Starscream, who were supposed to be based on birds. I think an eagle and a falcon, but it's not that obvious. So, like, the only two that I could see that they were really trying to push a theme was here with Knockout, which is very obvious, and with the Sharktacon Megatron. So that is what I think they were trying to do with the Decepticons in this toy line. But I say they only really did it well with this one and with Megatron. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, pretty good figure. So yeah, this has been my review of the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Deluxe Class Knockout, or Crockout if you want to call them that. This is Composite EnerJoe signing off. Peace out.